Hi, Teresa Riazzi, coach and hypnotherapist. I help you become who you want to be. I'm going to give you a heads up, first of all, that this video is going to be maybe a little bit longer than the other videos. This video I'm creating for when you can have the time to really maybe sit down and journal, maybe sit down and really listen to it, have a cup of tea, dive into it, and see if any of this resonates with you, okay? So if you're at work and maybe you can't devote the full time to listen to the entire duration of this video, that's okay. Save it for later and listen to it when you can. What I'm talking about today is self-sabotage, and this is something that sometimes we are not even aware that we're doing, okay? But once we can identify that we're doing it, then we can understand more about why we're doing it. So self-sabotage, first I just want to say a little bit about what self-sabotage is. So self-sabotage is when we either don't get started with reaching our goals and procrastinate or avoid reaching them, or where we start reaching our goals and then we give up, okay, and quit. And there's different reasons why we do that. And we do that when it comes to relationships. Maybe that relationship is going really fantastic, and then all of a sudden we start nitpicking everything, right? Or we end it. We turn down work opportunities. We struggle with being consistent with our diet and exercise and give up and sabotage ourselves that way. So it comes up a lot in a different variety of ways, but really beginning to identify it is key, okay? So I'm talking about the 5 reasons today why we sabotage ourselves. And this is something that I worked with a lot of clients on. And once you can start identifying what are these reasons, then you can allow yourself to be more consciously aware of it and change those patterns. So number one is something that I wrote about in my Huffington Post article. And what that is that we don't feel worthy of reaching whatever our goal is. Okay, so it might be that I want that loving relationship, but I don't feel good enough to have that relationship. I don't feel worthy of it. It might be I want that thin, healthy body, but again, I don't feel worthy of it. Or I want that financial success, abundance, whatever it is, but we sabotage ourselves because we don't feel good enough. We don't feel worthy. And this is something that I also talked about in another video as well, and that Huffington Post article, because it comes up all the time. Okay, so that would be number 1, the emphasis of I don't feel good enough, I don't feel worthy, so I'm going to sabotage myself from reaching these goals. And number 2, and this is something that is surprising to a lot of people, and this is based on the work of Brene Brown, who I highly recommend you familiarize yourself with if you don't know who she is. Brene discovered that our scariest emotion, happiness. And a lot of people are surprised by that. I was too, because I think we all want to be happy, right? We are scared of happiness because we are equally scared of losing that happiness. Okay? So maybe you can identify times in your life where you were, maybe holding your kids in bed at night and the next minute thinking, what if something bad happened to you? I love you so much, right? And it's such an incredible amount of vulnerability. So the way that this relates to sabotage is that because we fear that happiness, we don't always allow ourselves to have that happiness, or we sabotage that happiness once we get it, okay? So start to gain awareness around this. Is this something that you do? Do you embrace happiness when it comes to you, or do you start to find that your patterns of thought around happiness are becoming negative? Or maybe you say things like, this is too good to be true, or when is this going to go bad, right? We do that all the time. So start gaining awareness around that, because that's the second, I would say probably most common reason we sabotage ourselves, is that we fear happiness, okay? Number 3, we have an all or nothing mentality, and we focus on perfection instead of progress, okay? An all or nothing mentality, or we focus on perfection instead of progress. What I mean by this is that maybe we want to lose weight and change our diet. We might go onto this really extreme diet where we have to cook 30 ingredient meals, and then maybe one day there's a birthday party and we have a piece of cake at that birthday party and we think, oh my gosh, I fell off this diet. I knew I couldn't do it. Might as well just stop. Okay, so what it is that it's just that all or nothing approach. Either I'm going to devote 2 hours to working out, or I'm not going to do anything at all. And I know I tend to be like this. I have to catch myself when I am, because it really holds us back from reaching our goals, because it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Okay, so that would be number 3. Number 4 is that we are, just going to move the camera here so I can remember this. But there are different fears that we have, and I want to make sure that I address each one, okay? Because this is something that I just talked about. So fear number 1 is that we're afraid of failure. Okay, so self-sabotage, if we're afraid of failing, we're going to sabotage ourselves. And usually that's around, if not feeling, wanting to know what people think, wanting people's approval. And so that we feel in control, sometimes we'll sabotage ourselves, even though it feels counterproductive. We won't even try. We won't even try to reach our goals, and we'll sabotage it in that manner because we're afraid of failing at those goals. We're also afraid of success. And that sounds crazy, but this comes up all the time. And usually the fear of success comes down to a trained belief system around success. Maybe you were growing up where maybe your parents weren't successful, and you trained yourself that in some way success had a negative connotation to it, where maybe it wasn't such a good thing. Okay, maybe having money wasn't such a good thing. Whatever your limited beliefs are, that comes up around success, as well as the self-worth. Okay, so that's another fear. We are also afraid of change and the unknown. Okay, so we will not reach our goals. We will sabotage our goals because we're terrified of change. We're terrified of new things, and we're terrified of things that we don't know. We like to know what tomorrow holds, whether that's good or bad. We like certainty, okay? And there's a reason people stay in relationships and jobs year after year that they may not like, because at least they know what to expect. So it's often difficult for us to go after our goals fully if it involves a change, which it usually does, or if it involves something that's unknown to us. So we will sabotage ourselves if those factors, if any of those fears, the failure, success, change, or the unknown come up, sabotage will play a role, okay? So we're on to number 5. So the last reason that I find that we sabotage ourselves is there is a payoff for us not reaching that goal. Okay, let that sit with you for a minute. There's a payoff for you not reaching that goal. So what I mean is this, and sometimes it's difficult for us to identify what the payoff is, even understand that there is a payoff. I'll give you a couple examples, and these are actual case studies from clients. So I once had a client that wanted to lose a lot of weight. And she came from a different state, and she had a limited amount of time to address her weight loss and really her mindset around it, because she had been yo-yo dieting and she wanted to lose a significant amount. So we explored fears and we explored payoffs. And she said, this is a good thing for me. There's no reason I would want to keep the weight on. It will change my life in the most remarkable, positive ways. I'm not keeping this. There's no payoff. I don't want it. Okay? But the way our subconscious works is that we generally don't keep things in our life unless it's serving us in some way. So I had this woman just dive a little bit deeper with it. Keep an open mind, go home, and explore it a little bit more. Make a list of fears surrounding weight loss. She brought back that list. It was 3 pages long. And we started to really examine what those payoffs were. For her, those payoffs were anything from she was adopted as a child and she didn't get much attention. She felt like having that weight, she would allow herself to get extra attention. And it wasn't necessarily good attention or the kind of attention that she necessarily was hoping for, but it was still attention. Okay. Also on her list was that she was in an abusive relationship in the past. She felt like the payoff for her in keeping her overweight was that it was protecting her, that potentially other people could, abuse her, enter her life, and then she could be unsafe. So that was another payoff. I had another client whose payoff around weight loss was that she didn't like to go shopping. Some women like to shop, some women do not like to shop. This client despised it that much that she did not want to lose weight because her payoff was, I won't have to go shopping. Okay? We do this all the time. People do it when they're ill. Their payoff is that, oh, well, I get extra attention, I get nurturing, maybe something that I'm seeking that normally, relaxation that normally I don't get, okay? So begin examining, is there a payoff? Is there something that I'm gaining from me not reaching this goal? Because if there is, I'm going to sabotage myself. I'm not going to reach that goal, okay? Thank you so much for staying with me for this full video. I know it covered a lot, but I really want to hear back from you. And if you send me a private message, that's perfectly fine. I have clients do that all the time. If you want more one-on-one support, either comment below or send me a message or an email and let me know if these are areas that you've struggled with. I would love to work with you more in depth on these, and hypnosis is such a fabulous tool for allowing you to release these limited beliefs, release these blockages, and end that pattern of sabotage. All right, leave your comment below and please share this video with anyone that you think could benefit from it, that has tried to quit smoking, has tried to lose weight, has tried to be healthier, has tried to be happier, has tried to be in that great relationship, and then just has that pattern of sabotage. Share this video so that they can gain more awareness around why they're doing those things. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to your comments, questions, and any insight that you have to offer around sabotage. Have a great day.